Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm back out here on the 1548 Grizzly, and I'm going to see if I can catch a couple brim today in a bit of a new area, trying to learn some of these new Mississippi watersheds now that I am finally somewhat moved in. Anyway, got some crickets with me, and let's go ahead and bait them up and see what we can get. There's a good one, and yet another female in the boat. Well, that just about proves it. I think I finally found what I've got to do to catch some fish today, and it's a bit different from what I normally do, but not to a extensive extent. So let me get this fish off, and then we're going to go ahead and go over everything I'm doing differently today. So in terms of the setup I'm using, it's very similar to what I've used in the past. I have 2-pound tests. It does make a difference between 2 and 4. This really thin line allows you to cast farther, which is important for days like today. I then have a small bobber stop. This is a little bit of cotton line, which allows me to set the depth. I also have a teal bobber, and then I have this little plastic essentially bobber stop, and when it hits that cotton fiber line, it'll just stop the bobber and allow it to only go to that depth. Finally, I have 2 split shots today, a little bit more than normal because I'm trying to get deeper, as we'll get to in a second, and a small 1 or 2 size circle hook. Now, the reason for the circle hook is I'm having to fish right next to weed lines and deeper into cypress roots. J hooks have a tendency, since the point's just straight out, that it wants to hook into it, especially if you get underneath, whereas these circle hooks, the point is coming in, so it has a tendency to not get caught on cypress roots or hung up nearly as often. So that's one of the key reasons for that. Now, for today's depth, I'm fishing 3 or 4 feet deep. This is abnormally deep from what I normally do. In the springtime, you want to fish right up on the bank and get those fish. You're going to get bluegill spawning and get good sized ones. Today, that's not the case. It's just been so hot all over the U.S. that the fish are going to go deeper to stay cooler, and they're going to find cover, 1 for predators and 2 for shade. Just like humans, we're trying to stay cooler, they're going to try to do the same thing. So I fish at about 3 feet deep because bluegill do fish up, and I'm fishing in about 5 feet of water. And the area I found has deep drop-offs on each side. This has a lot of weed lines that drop off, or they're right next to the drop-off, and a lot of cypress trees that go down into the drop-off. So I'm getting right to the edge. Right as you get to the steep drop-off point, I'm fishing right along those areas looking for cover, and I'm kind of casting relatively close to those, deeper, and that seems to be where you're going to be finding the fish, especially in the dog days of summer. Now that you have an explanation as to what I'm doing, let's get back to it and see if we can catch a couple more brim. Now, to figure out how much weight you need for a slip bobber setup just like this, it's pretty easy, especially when it comes to crickets. You're going to add your hook, and then you're going to use your smallest weights possible. You're going to start with 1 and then go from there. I found 2 basically by casting out in front of me, so I don't want the line straight down. I want it cut it flat across the water, because that's how you're naturally going to fish, casting away from the boat. And what I want to see is the line slowly start to sink and the bobber just barely go under the surface, just a tiny bit. Now, the easiest way to see that is some good polarized sunglasses. I'll link a cheaper set and a more expensive set in the description, as well as possibly up here if you're kind of looking for something of that nature. But once you get to that point, you're going to put a cricket on. And if you've ever thrown a cricket in the water, it adds buoyancy. So what you're going to have is just a small amount of the stem of your bobber, especially with these teals, sticking out of the water, so you will need pretty good eyesight. But that's going to be a clear indicator, and it puts so little buoyancy on the surface that the fish has a very difficult time determining whether there actually is a bobber or a buoyant object attached to the line and the hook. I found that this gives me quite a few more hookup ratios compared to using a larger bobber or a foam bobber, but of course you can use whatever you like. There's a fish. Hard to tell, it doesn't seem very big. It's not. Lots of little dinks today. Having a little bit more difficult time finding the larger ones I want, but I will take it regardless. Once again, just some deep cypress stumps and knots down here, and just cast it kind of in the middle of those, and there it is. Hopefully we'll find something a bit better than that. Unfortunately, I don't have much bait, so I have to be very selective about our casts and everything at this point. Well, I didn't realize it, but I do have a fish on. This thing must have came up right as I was pulling it in. This one's actually a little bit better female than what I've been catching. Yeah, look at that. Oh, feisty as well. Much feistier than one I have been catching. Maybe it feels a little bit cooler too, like it was a bit deeper, grabbed it a bit deeper. The bait was certainly at that 3-foot mark, but perfect. Well, that's 10 or 12 today, so I can't say I'm getting skunked, just not getting fish I would necessarily fillet or take home with me, but just having a wonderful time catching some of these bluegill. All right, here's an opportunity at a fish. This one's better. Definitely a bit better. Look at that. That's a nice bluegill. Nice bit of a bull brim. Not huge, but certainly the biggest of the day. I will gladly take him. Just going to be nice and gentle. Well, there we go. Almost hand size, but really a little bit too small to fillet. We'll let him go, let him grow. Get another cricket on, hopefully find one of his bigger friends. I think I got another one off this stump. Yep. Another decent sized one. Get this one in the boat. Yeah, this is a nice female right here. Now the reason I'm standing up is it allows me to be a little bit higher and I can see farther into the water and I can see where some of these stumps are coming down. Whereas sitting down low, all I'm getting really is a reflection of the water off the surface, or the reflection of everything else off the surface. So that's why I'm standing up now, so I can get a better view, and that seems to be pretty effective as far as finding these deeper pockets where the structure is. I think I have something, but it's got to be very small if I do. It is just toying with it right now. I'm just going to wait for a minute, see if anything happens. It's just toying with it. If it has it, it's got to already have it. Yep, there we go. This one's a pretty good one. Oh goodness, this one is a good one. How about that? That is a nice large fish. It just goes to show, kind of like last time, these larger panfish, they'll just play with your bait and you will think it's just a small minnow or something coming to grab it, and next thing you know, you got your first hand size sunfish, well not sunfish, but a panfish of the day. Let's use that term. I'm not absolutely certain as to what the species is. It looks like a large red ear, if I had to guess. Let's take a good look at that. Man, coming out of my hand. Let's hold up 1 second. All right, now I'm out of the sun a little bit. There he is, nice large one, definitely the largest of the day. Pretty deep water, just toyed with it for a bit. Since it's the only one of the larger fish I've caught, I'm gonna let him go. No use in getting the fillet nights out for one small fillet, right? So here we go, buddy. I appreciate it. You enjoy your time in the water. Once again, it looks like I have something just toying with it. Yep, I do. What do we got here? Oh, we got our first bass of the day. Check that out. That is a very small bass. He just gobbled it up and then just stayed with it, I guess, for a little bit. Didn't really move. I'll get this little guy off. Don't catch many bass on crickets. This is actually second one this year I've caught in this watershed, and it's been 3 or 4 years since I caught one on a cricket. But tiny little guy. We're gonna let him enjoy a little bit longer life, and hopefully a bass angler will come up and get him when he's a bit bigger. Well, unfortunately, I am on my last cricket. I hate to say it, but did a silly thing and bumped my cricket cage down the ground, and a lot of them escaped before I was able to get to it and close it. But still caught quite a few fish with only the 30 or so crickets I've had or fished with. But with this last one, hopefully I'll finish on a good note, and then I want to go explore these waterways a little bit just to see some other areas I should check out next time. And it looks like I will end on a good note. A very good note at that. There we go. Last fish of the day coming in the boat. Nice female. Well, I want to go ahead and get this one off the hook, put some of this fishing equipment away, explore these waterways a bit since I'm, again, very new to the area and there's just so much like the Tensas Delta to explore. Get back to you all a little bit later when we get closer to getting to the ramp. Well, like last time, the boat ramp was a bit busy, so I just didn't want to get anybody's way, but made it back to the house yesterday, got the boat, got the truck put up, everything of that nature, and that's really it. Guys, I do hope y'all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to share, like, subscribe for more, and as always, thanks for watching.